Silage is a form of preserved crop that is made by farmers during the summer months when the grass supply is plentiful and not required for grazing.
Silage is a feed that's put together with moisture, which in our way of feeding cattle today in a total ration is where we're mixing all the commodities together into one blend, and the moisture of silage helps hold together all the other feeds that are dry and add some palatability to the mix, having the moisture in there versus eating all dry feed. Silage is a way of putting up feed and guaranteeing you a good quality product in a bag, since it's being sealed up from all the air, and you know you're going to have a fermentation that does an adequate job of making a quality feed. Where hay, you're putting it up as a dry matter, and sometimes weather plays a factor in whether you get it put up correctly at the right moistures, and if you get it up too wet, naturally you can create fires, which is well known to happen in big bells, and we don't want that happening, not with the cost of hay today.
Silage is fed to dairy and beef cattle all year long and is made by preserving the feed, corn and alfalfa, under a natural fermentation, lowering the pH for long storage life.
The crop is chopped while it's in the field. It's brought in and packed, and in our case we use a bagger to pack it. And then the process of silage is a fermentation, whereabouts the bacteria and the enzymes and stuff use up all the oxygen, and then they start digesting the feed, or pre-digesting the feed anaerobically to make lactic acids. And in the absence of oxygen, will make a product that is well preserved and has a long shelf life, and it won't undergo any further degradation.
Because silage forms the bulk of the livestock's diet for a year, how you store your silage is a very important aspect of the process. For many years, the most common way to store silage has been in a pile or upright silo.
I know it took us a little while to convince ourselves when we went to bags, but without a doubt, you have way less shrink in a bag versus a pile. There are some drive-over piles they're doing today that has minimized that shrink, but still doesn't compete with bags. For the quality of feed that you get out of a bag versus a pile, storage is really not a big factor anymore because of the quality.
When you start talking about the top of a pile, that's the biggest surface area. You know, if you take off 6 or 8 inches off that whole surface, and then maybe what's below that has been heated up to the point where the nutrition's cooked out of it, you're still losing feed quality, where the bag, it's all the same.
Primarily there's a dry matter loss, and then there's a quality loss that you get in pile silage. The dry matter loss is mainly comes from increased heat during the fermentation, the increased time it takes to get the oxygen out of the pile before it starts to ferment. You also, in a pile, you have a crust that develops around, even if it's well packed, that it can get mold and stuff in it. So that basically, even though most of us feed it, it has less value for the animal, and in some cases can be toxic to the animals.
Silos can be hazardous and have been known to cause both injury and death during the process of filling and maintaining them. Machinery, falling, as well as poisonous gas exposure are all factors.
I have worked on farms where we had stacked silage, and yeah, you can have the undercut cave in, and that can be a dangerous thing. And there's also the danger from spoilage. Some of the toxins that can appear in silage can kill cows, and the gases can be from the spoiling silage can be dangerous also if you're not in a well-ventilated area.
Storing silage in bags may help reduce the conventional safety hazards associated with silage work, and can also reduce silage loss by up to 20%, while providing a whole new world of silage management.
Well, basically, if more tons were bagged in the United States of silage rather than being put up into piles or pits or silos, a good solid number of about 15 to 20% and some more would be saved. And what would that do for us? Well, in the United States, If 20% of the feed was saved, it wouldn't have to be grown. And what that really amounts to, a lot of people don't realize, and that is all the water it takes, the fertilizer it takes, it's the seed, it's the time, it's the ground. The dirty air, the machines running to cut the harvest doesn't have to be there. We've all come used to this 15% loss of silage based on the way 1,500 years ago that silage was put up in piles like they are still today. And today that doesn't have to be that way.
From our experience, we would say we probably lose next to nothing, probably just a couple percent loss with the bagging system, whereas when we've done stacks, no matter what we did, I feel our losses were probably at least 20%.
Versa Corporation, located in Astoria, Oregon, has been creating large, high-capacity bagging machines for custom and large operators since 1988.
I was 22 when I started in this business, and how I got started was I got asked to help work on build a dairy farm, and I was always mechanical and constructive kind of guy. And it was about 1983 I was asked to build a prototype, and I did do that. And that went on until about 87, and in 1987 I decided to build the first large commercial machine. They were all smaller, and that was a 10-foot diameter bag and 175 horsepower. And I built a group of those and was on my way to fame, but it didn't come easy. They broke down, and I had trials and turbulences. But I will say those customers that bought those machines back in that time are still with me today. So we must have done something right, and now we're up here 2013, and the machines went from something that was a small little machine that did about a half a ton a minute back when the Germans built that machine and shipped it over here, to the machines today that are doing 15 tons a minute, and now they're servicing dairies up to 15,000 cows.
With the most uniformed bags on Earth, Versa machines pack more tons of silage and store more feed per square area than any other worldwide.
Our Versa bagging machines make the most uniform bags in the world. And how they do that is based on the way they're built and designed. Our machines are the only ones built in line. In line means that you can have longer tunnels. We've got grading edges on them. Our rotor is higher. Our table, in-feed table, is at an incline. And so all those little features I just spoke about are the things that make our machine take some of the worst feed conditions and make the most prettiest bag packed tight and get the best fermentations out of them.
Silage storage in bags today, over any other method, can achieve near zero losses. Versa's bags will raise herd health noticeably, and with individually packed and tested feeds, can accomplish accurate ration balancing.
Well, I like to say it this way. You planted it, you bought it, you fertilized it, you grew it, you harvested it, and now you can't throw any of it away. And with today's modern technology, with our bagging machines, there's no reason for that. You can get 100% of your feed back. You don't have to work for 20% of nothing. And a lot of people don't realize that today, but today that is very much the fact.
With the most creative patented bagging technology, Versa silage baggers are the safest and easiest machines to operate.
You know, it's a win-win for everybody. We do good, they do good. They keep coming back for that reasons. We make the machines very reliable, we make them heavy duty, we make them to last a lifetime. Most companies don't do that anymore. You see new equipment all the time out there broke down. Our stuff, you know, you can go to a customer's location, he's got brand new choppers, he's got brand new trucks, he's got a brand new bagger, and the only thing that runs through the first 8 hours is the bagger. And we work very, very hard to do that. We make our machines as simple as we can to operate, we make them as simple as we can to work on, and we make them with common parts. The idea is if a customer does have a problem in the field, he can get back up and running that same day, because we know that the feed won't wait, you know, even overnight at times for a part to arrive or somebody to come out and fix it. When you call our company 24/7, doesn't matter what time of day or night it is, you get a live human. You never get a recording. And if you're broke down, we'll shut the whole shop down and work on your problem to get you fixed. It is the most important thing to us.
The machine itself is no setup required. You put the bag on and you literally are bagging within 10-15 minutes after that machine shows up. And the machine itself, the functions of it are very simple for a person to learn, and consequently end up being a piece of equipment that the owner really enjoys, because it doesn't take a whole lot of special talent to make a nice bag.
Almost everybody I can think of that we've got is they're our friends. You know, they call us casually, they call us for business. We stop by and visit them. We've got customers that come out on vacation in Astoria to see us. You know, it's quite a relationship. It's a family, and even through problems, if somebody has a problem, you know, it just brings us all closer together because we work through it. We listen to our customers. If there's something they don't like about the machine, we listen to what they don't like. We try to improve it on the next machine. We try to make changes to the machines that they are applicable to their older machines. You know, their success is our success.
With smoother packed bags and all feedstuffs, less space between bags, and more tons per storage area, bagging is made easier than ever before.
Over the years, it's interesting to watch the customers, the old-time customers that we've had, start off with this machine, and they grow, their business grows, the machines change, but one thing never does change, and that's them knowing that bagged feed is the best way to put their silage up.
Some of the major impacts that I see the VersaBaggers or bagging of silage in the future to these dairies and beef operations all across the United States is that it is truly the greenest way to put up feed. And I didn't really realize that when I started in the business, but it is today. In fact, in California, the piles of silage have been noted to be the biggest contributor to the volatile organic compounds going into the air, and that's because they're losing 20% of their pile through degradation. You put it in a bag, it doesn't do that. And that's what we do with bagging machines. With a bagging machine, you put the feed in the bag, you will get more beef, more milk out of that cow than any other method of putting up silage in the world.
For more information, visit versacorporation.com or call 1-800-837-7288.